Welcome back to the VHS Vault. I'm one of your hosts, VHS Jason. Of course, right next to me is the great Jason Roy Gaston.
Hello.
And, mate, tonight we're going to do something happy, fun, family time.
Absolutely.
No.
It's a movie you can watch with your kids at any age, and it teaches them a great lesson. Don't ever read.
No, ever.
Reading
and, of course,
is
we're
bad.
talking about 2013 reboot reimagining of the Evil Dead franchise. And let me just say straight out of the bat, Jason, let's just say this is kind of an Evil Dead movie in my book. It has the basic skeleton of one, but it's very much its own thing, I would say.
I this is my first time revisiting this movie since I saw it in theaters. I liked it when I saw it in theaters, and rewatching it, I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
I did not enjoy this movie.
It's a fascinating film to watch because there are elements that you can see are designed for the audience to enjoy, but really there's this sense of dread that it's not like good dread in a movie. It's hard to explain. There's this awkward vibe about the film that just never quite brings you in. And you have some really great moments in this film that are then polluted with some just weird choices plot-wise or performances or character motivation. But, I don't know. I mean, the special effects are dope.
Yeah, the special effects are great. Do you want to know what I think what was different this time? It's because this time I watched this movie after watching the first three. The first three have this absolutely goofy, wicked sense of humor about them, so that you're cringing one moment and then you're laughing the next. This took the Evil Dead, this remake, and it surgically removed all the fun.
Absolutely.
Until we were left with just a horror movie. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a pretty good horror movie. It's got, as you said, it's got some great special effects. It's got a very dreary atmosphere. Yeah. But it's not a good Evil Dead movie. It is just too dreary. It takes itself too seriously. Tonally, it is so completely different from the preceding movies that this is not just a reboot. It's a complete restart, reimagining. Call it what you want. They just slapped the Evil Dead on another Stranded in a Cabin movie and covered it in blood. Now, that being said, I am going to say it's a good horror movie. It's just not a good Evil Dead movie.
Look, I will defend the fact that it is directed very well by Fede Alvarez, who is becoming a really well-known horror director. And some staging and some of the camera shots he chose, absolutely fantastic, and the violence is very visual, and I think that's a testament to him as well. But it's a really jarring film because there's no one to really root for. There's no one to attach yourself to, because even Jane Levy, who does really great, is playing Mia because she's got a really challenging role of 3 different versions of herself that she's got to play throughout the movie. So that is a plus. The acting, not bad.
No.
Like from the main actress, not bad at all. I'll give her a green tick for that. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. You don't root for her. She's a drug addict. She's suffering. And, and she makes some poor choices early on. And, from there, it just, I don't know who you're supposed to root for. The hippie-looking guy? The guy that really was dumb enough to read out loud the book?
Yeah, because you can't root for him because, one, he reads out of a book that is covered in barbed wire and it says, do not read, do not read, do not read. I think I'll read it.
Yeah, there's blood-written things in every page.
Maybe. And before we even know about the book, he's already a douchebag because he's just holding this grudge. The nurse, Olivia, played by Jessica Lucas, completely unlikable person. She's full of herself. She is arrogant, and she's putting Mia's life in danger.
She has a great scene later on in the movie, though.
She really does, yeah. David, played by Shiloh Fernandez, was a person with no personality.
He was so vanilla.
he had the stage presence of a wet sponge. I haven't seen this guy in anything else. Apparently, he's got a huge filmography. I'm just not privy to it. But
Yeah.
if
He was supposed to be our protagonist, but he's an empty vessel. At
yeah,
no point do I care about his welfare at all.
no,
I feel more sorry for what's his name? Larry? What was the name of the guy? Harold? Harry. I feel more,
which one?
yeah, the hippie guy with the glasses.
Oh, that was Eric,
only
played by Lou Taylor Pucci. Which I gotta say, I love the name Pucci.
Yeah, the fact that he gets stabbed with glass light from the mirror, and he gets stabbed with something else. He ends up with nails through his hand.
Oh gosh,
he gets stabbed with the X-Acto knife in the stomach. Yeah, the one.
Oh no!
He goes through the ring of that dude.
He does, but you know what? He deserves it. He's a douche.
Yeah.
And yeah, how can we forget about Natalie? Natalie, the blonde white girlfriend who has. I don't remember anything about her other than how she dies. That's it. Yeah. I was sitting here struggling, thinking, Natalie.
Yeah.
Natalie was present. Natalie was there too. She's like the Gilligan's Island theme whenever they don't even bother to mention the professor and Marianne. They just say, and the rest.
Yeah, and the rest.
So it's Mia, David, Olivia, Eric, and the rest. And Natalie's over there in the corner just going,
you know what I think this film's biggest fault is they tried to adhere to the Evil Dead. This would have been a stronger movie if they completely just made and forgot about the whole Evil Dead franchise. I reckon. Yeah. I think it's weighed down in trying to hit certain beats from the original.
Well, it hits
because it's not an Evil Dead movie in my mind. It's a possession movie more than an Evil Dead movie.
It is, and they don't just. They hit some beats, but they completely miss others. And it's so weird. It's like doing a reboot of Spaceballs and saying, okay, this time, no jokes.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't get why they thought this was a good idea.
And as much as I praise the special effects, it has to be said, the special effects are so realistic, they're not fun anymore.
No.
They're not fun. You can't really enjoy them. And there are some great sequences, especially there's a kill at the end with the chainsaw, which visually, the way he framed it, the way it looked was amazing, and it should have been something we were laughing at. But at this point, it's like I said, it's not realistic because it's, but you know what I mean? It just there's a
Kill
fun
Bill
that's
levels of gore
for it. Yeah. It's been sapped.
And if you really think about it, Mia is screwed at the end of this movie. I mean, she has beaten the demons, she's won, but she's screwed because if she goes to anybody and says, help, I need help. Oh, well, what's happened here? A bunch of people took a drug addict to a cabin and now they're all dead. Yeah. Gee, I wonder what happened. Oh, and she's saying that they're all possessed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just put her in the electric chair. Tell her it's a ride. Just bleak, joyless, gray, just.
And I thought about Jason. I thought about why do this? Why did Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell? And I kind of get their perspective at the time. They wanted just to go, well, hey, we've done everything we think we can do with the franchise. Let somebody else have a crack at it and kind of redo it. And I think the biggest blessing in this film is what it triggered afterwards. And that was Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell going, there's more to explore with Ash. Let's do a series. Let's keep going with the character because, I'm sure on a Friday night when this movie was released like 10 years ago, like you said, 11 years ago, I'm sure there were some great scares for the audience and things like that. But it's not a horrible movie, but it's not really enjoyable either.
Yeah, I've said it 3 times. I'll say it again. It's a good horror movie. It's not a good Evil Dead movie. It just loses so much of what makes this franchise fun because there is no fun in this movie. It's like watching torture porn. The first movie was like, the first movie was like Looney Tunes meets Kill Bill, just like doing. This one is just nothing but watching people suffer, and it's not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah. Though, luckily, when we do get to see those level of special effects with Ash versus the Evil Dead series, which I would definitely recommend for you to go and watch. We're not covering that on the VHS vault. We're strictly film here, not TV series. But I would say absolutely go check that series. Ran for 3 seasons, I think, and then they were kind of done. And a lot of goofy fun. Not as good as the number 2 and number 3 in my book, but still a fun series to check out.
I will check that out one day. I just
Yeah.
never had a chance to.
No, definitely worth having a look. I think you have a lot of fun. Now, I believe the next Evil Dead film we will be covering in the VHS vault, Jason, is in fact a good one, and I haven't seen it, called Evil Dead
You
Rise.
have not seen it. I
No, I
actually
have not.
named this movie as one of my top 10 of last year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm keen as everybody who I know has seen it, which a lot of people have all said it was fantastic. So I'm really excited to check this one out. But before we get there, Jason, we're going somewhere. Well, we're going to probably the opposite type of film, I think, for the next film. But this was a recommendation by you, and I jumped on this. When was it from you? Or was it one from our Patreon?
I think I just mentioned in a chat or something.
Yeah.
I mentioned this movie. I was like, no one ever talks about this movie anymore. And at the time, everybody was like, it's so innovative. It's something new. This is the future of cinema. And then it kind of went in theaters, and no one ever talks about it anymore.
Yeah. And what is the film that no one ever talks about, Jason?
That would be Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Everybody
I loved
is
it
like,
when I first saw
what Captain and the what of what?
Yeah. No.
It was a movie. It was done almost completely on green screen.
Yeah.
And it's a very weird throwback, pulpy science fiction, Indiana Jones
pulls from
weird movie.
Yeah, like serialized Flash Gordon, even type of things, to like that kind of sci-fi alternate history World War II design, which is just great. Look, I remember enjoying it. I remember my son enjoying this very much, but like the public have kind of forgotten about the movie until you brought it back up, and I'm going.
Yeah.
I think we got to see it again. I think we got to talk about it. So
controversial movie too, because they actually brought an actor back from the dead to play a part in this movie, and there were a lot of people who were upset about that.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that next week when we talk about Sky Captain the World tomorrow. Now, guys, if you can,
come on, if you can, come on, let's go.
If you really want to take control of this show and get us to talk about movies that you want us to talk about, Jason, what are they going to do? What are they going to do?
All you got to do, baby, is go down to the video description. You will find a link to our Patreon. Go over there, pledge $5 a week, and let's just say we will do anything you want. Within reason, of course, and within the boundaries of good taste. You have priority movie recommendations. If you're like, hey, I want you to do Fire and Ice. It's a really naughty animated movie from the 80s. We will totally do that. Again, within reason. Please don't say, yeah, take your pants off, show me your feet. I may do it, but he's got some moral things that he just can't. And he's got really ugly feet. I've seen him. So please go to the video description below. Join our Patreon. We're desperate.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time on the VHS Vault. All right.
Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. No one remembers this film.
Jude Law's great in that film too.
Oh yeah, Angelina Jolie too. Yeah, there's awesome. And then that